Yo. So prices are well, good morning everyone first of all. Natural gas prices are I haven't had any coffee yet.
I've had 2 sips,
Oh boy. All right.
so I can
This
relate.
this is going to be rough.
Mhm.
You can see behind me the chart. It's the daily chart. Um the prices are falling off a cliff. Ah, they're stumbling toward the cliff. They fell off
Like,
the cliff.
staggering drunkenly.
Yeah, like they're descending pretty strongly though. Let's see.
See that on the weather, the GFS ensemble,
Oh,
on the latest run. Uh, I have to let everybody know that you called this. You called that this was gonna happen. So for people out there, GFS ensemble, it's got 4 iterations a day, and so it kinda looks like little spaghetti noodles, out towards the right-hand side of the graph, because there's not as much agreement with each iteration as there is with what is on the left-hand side, because that's, in the next, like, day or 2. So the spaghetti noodles are all over the place over there, and Professor said, "Well, the spaghetti noodles that are closer to us after this big, uh, cold spell that we're in right now. There's a valley there in the heating degree days. He's like, and then those little humps are going to descend, and then it's going to just turn into this defined peak, kind of like what we're in now, but much shorter. More around like the 30 heating degree days mark for like the top of the peak. He called it. He drew a little diagram and everything. Uh, there were no animal crackers, but that's okay. And he was, absolutely correct. That's what's going on right now
well,
with the graph.
that right, but something I forgot to do this morning. Hang on 1 second. I'm going. Hang on. I forgot to post the new ones. But yeah, I saw that yesterday, and I was like, holy shit! I was like, that was how do I know? Like like I didn't know.
Almost like
Obviously,
it's no, it's okay. It's almost like you've looked at these weather models before.
that yeah, right. Here, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. All right.
It's all good.
So we're gonna go like this. Yep. Disappears for a second, and then we're gonna come over here. Um, I have to do something real quick here. Yeah, I did see that though, and I was a little bit shocked. And then I went back and looked at the drawing that I made, and I was like, wow, that is like really close. So in the newest iteration, that little
Oh,
thing it disappeared.
yeah, lots even more heating degree days.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And then GFS. So really, like I think we talked about this yesterday. That there's a weather spike or there's a cold spike coming in this weekend, and it's locked in. That thing's locked in. It's not
Oh
changing.
yeah. Hmm.
It's been locked in for a while now. However, I think people are shifting their gaze out to the middle of February, which is
Yeah.
what we're mostly looking at now. So
Hmm.
if you look at that 34 day, that all really weakened up. It softened, and when I say that, and I'm looking at weather, like these weather charts, we have like a weather service, and when I say that, what I mean is that it it lost a lot of definition, I guess, like the curve of the heating degree days. All right, so now let's get you back in here. Nope.
Yeah, it lost. Used to it go up, and then it was a like plateau, and now it's more, instead of being like a plateau up at the top, it's now more up and down and up and down. Uh, Looking at the 34-day GFS, so I'm looking at.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not as, like, flat, as, like, high up. It's not heating degree days aren't as elevated, and then they were just more kinda stable being that high up, and
Mhm.
now it's turning more into, like, a peak valley type situation where the middle of that table is, like, getting pulled down, and it's gonna be a valley between, like, 2, like, cold spells. 2 cold blasts. 2 blasts.
Yeah. The surge of Arctic blasts.
Yeah. All the wor yeah, the way that, uh, people who write blogs write about these sorts of things is always comical.
When the bull
Mm.
says blogs, his phrasing is 100% accurate. However, most people would not probably not use that term um, to refer to like articles that people write about
Oh, yeah.
natural gas. They're not articles. Like we in case you kid like didn't like read between the lines or anything about how we talk about these people who write these things. Do your own research. That's what it comes down to. Don't
Yeah.
go read some blogs. Um, yeah, go do your own research and really steer clear of being influenced. If you're reading an article, don't look at like like if you're new to this, don't look at the like let's see at the information at first. Like just like when you look at an article, trying to like to decide if it's a trustworthy like supplier of natural gas news. Um, look at it from like a long perspective or a short perspective in trading. Like look at it from one of those perspectives. Start with long because it's probably they're probably going to be permables and like in the words that they use and like the situation. If they describe like a loss of heating degree days as a detrimental situation or unfortunate in any way, it's permable. Because because a loss of heating degree days is just that. It's just a loss of heating degree days. You have to look at it very objectively.
Yeah, it's neither bad nor good. It's just a change of situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
And
that's all it is. Yeah.
there will be a price fluctuation probably based on changes in heating degree days, and it's not good or bad unless you're trying to justify your situation or
Mhm.
or rationalize it or make yourself feel better.
Yes. And yeah, I second that. Most of the people you'll find are perma bulls. Uh, there's a perma bear sprinkled here and there. Uh, you got to be both. There's times when I'm bullish. There's times when I'm bearish. This is a commodity, not stock. The old sayings, quote, stocks always go up, close quote. This is not that. This is a commodity. There are times and situations where it goes up. There are times and situations where it goes down. And then like learning what those are and recognizing them and then going with them uh, is how you make money. Otherwise, yeah, looking for that for the blog post. I agree. I think you're absolutely right. That's probably like, one of the biggest things that could be like difficult to recognize and then also to use in like trading research, like how to look at things. Because so much information is just completely one-sided, and they'll make it sound like it's great, like what their perspective is. Like their position will be some of these people. For people who are watching, don't know they trade themselves and they have their position to where you could see it, and like their position will just like be on fire for lack of a better term, and not in a good way. It's like a dumpster fire, not like an amazing. You know what I mean? Like
Not
where
like, oh
some
man,
oh
you
wow,
were on fire. No, it's
right,
like their
exactly, yeah.
account is like burning up, and
Yeah,
they're just
exactly.
sitting on the sidelines watching.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and then they'll be, like, trying to justify it or whatever, or rationalize it. Yeah, like you were saying, and, some of them are really articulate, and they have, like, they make lots of, graphs and models, and, they have a lot of mathematics that goes with it. And so they can make it sound like, "Oh, they're right, the market's wrong." Well, the market is never wrong. Uh If you don't know what that means, then try to sell your item, whatever it is you have. We're talking natural gas here, but you could have something else like stocks. It applies to stocks as well, or bonds or whatnot. and then just try to sell it for a price that, they don't they don't wanna buy it at, and then when your order never gets filled,
Yeah.
that's what you just found out is that the market's right because it's where it's gonna buy or sell something at, and I can wanna sell it, uh, for more. It's like we trade a retail instrument for natural gas, don't trade the futures contracts directly. Like, as soon as I have my position in, I have a sell point in, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, what's my sell point?" When I create my trading plan before, like, my first, shares, for lack of a better term, are being purchased. I already know where I'm planning on selling it at, and so as soon as I start accumulating, like, a position, I have a sell order in, and it just sits there. So even if I'm not, like, at the computer, it'll sell if the price gets there. And so that's like a great example of having those buy orders like already put in and having the sell order already put in of how the market is always right. Because they don't fill. None of those buy orders fill until the price goes to where those buys are. And like the sell order doesn't fill until the price goes to where it's going to sell.
Yep. Um, yeah. So if you're in a position, I guess like let's see, something's only worth what someone is willing to pay for it. And so like if you're in a position, like buy something, whatever your cost basis is, and then like look at like the number you want to sell at. Like, oh, I want to make like this much money. I'm gonna make this much money. Like get your head wrapped around that, and then yeah, then go try to sell it at that price. Um, assuming of course that it's not like in the bid ask spread currently. Let's say like your dream number. Try to sell it at that price and see if someone will buy it. They probably won't because it's a dream. But
But you could get lucky.
yeah, yeah. But so like yeah, these people they write stuff about natural gas and um like a lot of them they have great data and then they have horrible trading records. Like their P&L just looks bad. Like it's not impressive. Most people couldn't live off of like the returns that have been made. And that's the objective, right? I mean, like we're um, well, yeah, I'm trying to live off of my earnings. So
Right? Yeah. That's like the goal.
yeah, exactly. Like that's my
is
goal.
the
So
and pretty much like that's my feeling also for like most people who are interested in trading. Like their whole goal to trade is that they don't have to have a quote unquote real job.
I sit here, spend my time doing this and like working for myself, based off of my ability to research, have knowledge around the trading instrument. Like the root of the trading instrument here is natural gas. Even though like we're trading a derivative of a derivative, it's still the heart of it is natural gas. So I'm trying to work for myself by learning about natural gas, keeping up to speed on it, and then making trade plans to execute based on the knowledge that we've accumulated. And I'd way rather do that than go sell my time for somebody or
Go
sell
make
my
someone else
time
money.
to someone else. To, yeah, exactly. So,
Said all your hard work is just to make someone else money.
mm-hmm.
It's like this last year they were for a long time they were like pumping this last year because of the what they call like labor crunch or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like wages like at these like 30-year high like increases in wages or whatever. And then the year ended and like compensation went up like 4.1%, which is like the most that it's ever gone up in like 30 years.
Yeah.
And then the official inflation number was 5.9%.
Yeah.
So everybody got a one. So if you got that pay increase, if you got that pay increase of that much, you got a 1.8% pay cut. And that inflation number lags by a year for that cost of housing. So that does not include increases in cost of housing. So you actually got a bigger pay cut than that. Like that's like the reality of working in, a quote unquote real job in the United States. Like you almost always, as someone in that situation, are getting a pay cut every single year. Like last year was the most money you're ever gonna make, like, relative to the cost of living.
It's brutal. In that
Brutal.
in that world, this world though is great.
Yeah, no, in the world I live in, no, yeah. Yeah, the world that we live in, yeah, it's amazing. I guess I was just trying to speak I think it's amazing. I feel like you think it's amazing also, but I don't wanna, like,
Oh no, I
say you thought
appreciate
it was amazing.
put
You know
words
what
in
I
my
mean?
mouth. No, I thank you for that, but I completely 100% agree. I was thinking about something else real fast, entered my mind, and now it's now it's out of my mind. I'll do it later.
Ah, biscuits.
No, it's good. I don't want to be
Oh,
distracted
okay,
right now.
gotcha.
Yeah, yeah, it's one of those
Oh,
kind
I
of
thought it
days.
had to do with, like, what was in front of us.
Oh no,
Oh, okay.
nope. This is
Uh,
great. It 480 doesn't really seem to be very strong in either direction now for support or resistance. It's
mhm.
gone through it 3 times. Well, on the 1 minute, it's gone through it more, but
That kinda happens,
mhm.
like, after a support or resistance line is, definitively broken, it just kinda evaporates until it gets until the price gets way far away from it and then returns to it to then reestablish it as support or resistance.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking. Are we low volume right now? I can't even tell anymore because like the last couple days have just been nuts, and like my volume scales off.
Yeah, compared to other days, we're on low volumes. Like yesterday, this time we were at like 60,000. No, we were higher than that. We were almost to 100,000. And today we're at 38,000.
Yeah. So, um, what I think will happen, it'll come up here. I mean, maybe I'm not sure, but if it gets above 480, and it's up there, uh, after the market opens, so we have 14 minutes. Then I think like on volume, we might see a strengthening of the 480 number as support.
Hmm.
But let's see here. Yeah, open interest is declining.
Oh yeah, significantly.
Yep.
It used to be going up within the month. Now it's going down. Yeah, now it's
For for people watching this chart behind me, this is what I'm looking at right here for volume. So when I go to the daily chart up here, then I look at this number down here, and that says it tells me it's a quick reference for the volume on the day so far, and that's what we were looking at a second ago. And this blue line down here on the bottom is open interest. So that's how many contracts have left to be settled. So that's like literally um, a representation of contracts that are open. It's like it's interest. It's how many contracts are open with a buyer and seller. That Yeah, I guess that's it. It's open interest. I don't know. It's pretty in my mind. It's pretty self-explanatory. If
hmm
it's not very clear cut to you, go check it out. Go do a little research.
there you go. Yeah, it's down about almost 40,000 from the peak. And so that's in a 4-day period. So about 10,000 contracts a day have been coming off the market.
Which
Again,
I mean,
that's an average. That didn't happen. You know what I mean? It
right?
wasn't happening like at a steady beat drum, but yeah.
Yeah, which is normal. I mean, like especially with that huge price swing in both
Hmm.
directions. People, I mean, like that's a lot of money. People just made a lot of money, so like they're good. They're good for the month for the March contract, and so they close out that interest that those contracts is. They know that you'll never blow up your account realizing gains.
That is so true. You never will. You realize those gains, you're not going to blow up your account.
That's something I have to remind myself of about about daily. It's getting easier.
Yeah, account bombing comes from massive losses and then realizing them. That's how an account's blown up. But yeah.
That usually comes from the fear of missing out,
Yes.
right? And like holding on to a position. It's like your little security blanket. You feel all good. You're like, oh, look at this huge green number I'm looking at. I love it. You wake up every day, check your phone. You got a big old green number sitting there, and like like any second you could just take all that money, but you want more. The greed sets in. Then,
Hmm.
then combined with the fear of missing out in case you sell your position, realize those gains, and then the next day, you could have had like another 5% increase in your account or something. So you just have that fear sitting there. Oh man, what if I could have more? I want more. Give me more. And then yeah, that's the greed. That's the voice of greed. In case you didn't catch on to that, but yeah. So anyway, yeah, realize those gains when you can. Just don't be afraid to. There'll be plenty of opportunities, especially in a market like natural gas where there's so much volatility. I mean, um, yeah, go check out some like natural gas derivatives and look at the volatility of those, especially if they're leveraged. Mind you, with a leveraged instrument, you are increasing your exposure to both swings, up and down, right? So you have 2 times the movement for like gains and losses, but plenty of volatility. I know this. So if people like if people are watching this and they are used to trading stocks, they come here and they see this and like they look at the chart behind me. It's like, oh cool, it went like 8 cents. Like right here, this little price swing, 8 cents. It doesn't sound like that much, um, but it's a commodity, so it's a little bit different. And so like what you're not seeing here is these ticks that are divided by tenths of cents. So if you look over here, this is time in sales, and so these are the prices at which transactions are happening. So you can see right here, it's 4.814, and so there's a tenth. So it's divided by tenths of pennies. So it's not it's not an 8 cent move. It's too early to do math. I'm not going to do it, but
No,
yeah. So I guess
I think another thing is that in most stocks that people look at, they're big name, big label stocks. The dollar denominations are much larger than this. Like natural gas is, even like oil, it's a famous commodity, probably the most famous commodity, like oil and gold. The prices for those are way higher than what natural gas is. Natural gas almost always stays in what is called penny stock range. Like the price for natural gas, like $2 natural gas is not unusual. $3 natural gas is not unusual. Where we're at now, 475, 490 is not unusual given, certain times of the year. Uh, for people who don't know, by the SEC, a penny stock is under $5. Well, you spend almost all your time. The vast majority of time for a futures contract is underneath $5. Like it's very rare for it to be above that. As far as when you look at like number of days, like if you look at a year chart, like the number of days that are above, it's above that. This year being like the exception, not the norm for price elevation. And so I think that's another thing to like keep in mind. Like you were saying, oh, it moved like 9 cents. That doesn't seem like a lot. Well, it's all relative to the price of like the base price of the instrument.
yeah, yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that percentage. So like, just for example, today we're down about 6.5 cents. The natural gas is down in price by 6.5 cents, but it's like 1.4%.
Hmm.
Speaking of stocks, I got like this headline came across my news feed and it was talking about Amazon shares are up, and then I did the math. They were up 20% after earnings, the earnings call.
Oh yeah, it's because it was hilarious. I laughed so hard because they had like great like revenue and like profits and whatnot. And so now they're increasing the cost of Amazon Prime. It's going up from 12.99 a month to 14.99 a month to be an Amazon Prime member. So that's just, so even though they had like great profits and everything, like it wasn't good enough.
Yeah, it
So now
wasn't.
they're having even more. So, now everyone's like, "Oh, their profits are gonna go up even more because 'cause it's like a drug dealer. They got people addicted to it. So now they're just like, "Okay, we can just slowly squeeze the price up." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I totally do. Yep.
And yeah, so, uh,
They're saying like they're killing it. Like they're making a ton of money just hand over fist, but then they're going to increase prices.
yeah, exactly. And there's hundreds of millions of people literally out who are Amazon Prime members.
Yeah.
So it's just like that's like instant every month, like bing. Oh, we're gonna make like 500 million a year or a month more a month. Yeah, sorry, a year. What silly me? Only 500 million more a year. 500 million more in a month every month. For example, just using a round number. Uh, just by like pushing a button,
That's
because like the average person does not like. That's the whole thing about recurring billing and subscription billing that's been created is that it's just knowing that, oh yeah, the average person does not keep tabs, like real close tabs on that, and is not going to turn that off. May they lose like a couple customers? Yeah, sure, but they've already done the they've already had a mathematician do the probability of that through all their sorcery that they do with their dry erase boards.
yeah. Yeah.
So
They.
and
Oh, well, that extra $2 a month is going to pay for their fleet of delivery vans.
oh yeah. I thought it was just all gonna go in Jeff Bezos' pocket.
Oh, well, there's that. I also another article came across my newsfeed, probably supporting your theory more. So Jeff Bezos is having a shoot. It's in Norway, I think. There's a historic bridge from World War II, and he's having it disassembled so that his $500 million yacht, no, $450 million yacht can fit through the waterway.
Mhm. Yep. Oh, yeah.
So no, you're probably right.
Yeah, he's the one who benefits from all that. Like, the stock goes up 20%. He's the one who owns most of it.
Yeah, right.
I know it's not literally most of it. Someone's gonna be like, "He doesn't actually own, like, 58%." You know what I mean? Like, someone's gonna
Yeah.
split hairs and say some nonsense like that. It's like, "Oh, cool shill. Yeah, thanks."
The point
Yeah,
is,
the
he's
person who
getting rich.
yeah, exactly. The person who owns, like, 5 shares, like, it's, like, completely insignificant. Yeah, him, he only made something like, $40 billion in a day, like, from that. But some, like, bootlicker will be like, "Oh god, yeah. Bezos, he deserves it." Yeah, so yeah, that's just going in his pocket.
you, after I said that, after I said they have to buy their new delivery van fleet, and you were just silent. I,
I was
I
just like,
knew.
"Yeah, it's so silly."
Yeah, there is some contradiction. No, you're right. You're right. They already have enough to buy that fleet. That's why they're buying
Yeah, that's why the share price goes up. Yeah. Because 'Cause they're just like, "Oh, this is just tons of extra money for Emperor Bezos."
it.
That's all that means. Like, that's just lit and then they'll be like, "Oh, cool." And then they'll just then they'll have all kinds of extra cash. And then instead of, reducing prices, to share, spread savings to like all the working class people who have to like order their toilet paper off them because they like live somewhere where there's not a retail store nearby. And they like convinced them that driving their car to the store is evil. So they, gave up their car. Now they rely on the like electric van, the electric like once a week Amazon delivery van instead of like spreading the savings to them. They'll like do just stock buybacks. But they won't buy back any of the shares that Emperor Bezos owns. Only shares that like other people own.
hmm
So then that way the price goes up and then he becomes even richer.
Yeah, this is why I don't like the idea of having a job.
Yeah, that's why I gave it up years and years ago. Well, as we've been going on mocking shills and the absurdity of, corporations, the price is just kind of floating around that 480. It's at that 480 mark. We're getting, real close to opening, to market opening. So it's just acted like a magnet. The
Yes,
480 mark,
just
like,
kind of
acted like
see.
a magnet for prices.
Yeah, we got less than a minute to market open.
Hmm.
Yeah, this I think this is pretty normal. I mean, like kind of trade sideways. Um,
Oh yeah,
it's not, the price is down, but it's still kind of
it's sideways.
sideways. You know what I mean? It's not like
Yeah.
making a strong move in either direction. It's just sitting there sideways. But this is
Oh yeah.
this is kind of, I guess, it's not like status quo, but it's. I'm not surprised to see more sideways action than like a strong move up or down, because we it just came down a ton yesterday.
Yeah, we're at like the price point. If you're using like hand grenades and horseshoes, we're at the price point that we were on January 31st. So if you take out the huge like spike right there, like so if you're like looking at a daily chart or whatnot, then you just have the green candle that goes straight up, and then you have the next day, which was yesterday. Green candle goes straight down. For all those who were watching, when the green candle was going up, we were just in like ecstasy. Like we're like, oh, thank you, thank the natural gas gods for letting us win the natural gas lottery. This is like amazing. And then we were just like, yeah, don't worry, prices will not be this high come April. And we're swing traders, not day traders. So then we set up our positions and to take advantage of prices going to the Looney Tuneville and like literally like
Yeah.
Roger Rabbit was there, like looking for some dip to like save himself from Judge Doom. And so now we're basically sideways. Like we're in consolidation basically, and it would not surprise me, but I'm not a day trader. But it would not surprise me if we just kind of stayed in consolidation. Maybe retest the low for today that we've been at so far is about the low, spitball range, the low of the 31st. And the high for the 31st going at the wick is spitball range about the high for today so far. Uh, there are a little bit of inside and outside of those, but it's close. So it wouldn't surprise me if today we had consolidation like that, and then the bigger move happened on Money Printing Monday, which is a
Yeah.
holiday, for those who don't know. Um, let's see here, the date of which would be the 7th of February. Way more important than Valentine's Day, by the way, because you don't know. It's way more important than Hallmark Company Day,
Yeah, it's the day we make money instead of the day they make money.
right? Ooh, and other new in geopolitical news,
Oh.
on less of a, I guess, on another note, the U.S. accusing Russia of like trying to uh, take over the moon landing like movie set in Hollywood's basement and like film a fake like footage for a fake invasion of Russia to like put out as propaganda. I'm just kidding. I don't think that the moon landings were fake. I was just making a joke because the US is saying that Russia's going to do that, like make film fake footage for propaganda to show that there's been an invasion done of Russia. And so like kind of like conspiracy theorize that that's what those military drills in Belarus that are going on right now. That could be what that's being used for because they're supposed to have military drills going on there until February 20th is like the official, quote unquote, official time range that's been put out by the Russian government and the government of Belarus. Uh, so maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they got them dressed up in some Ukrainian uniforms so they can get some footage to say that there's an invasion going on to put out on Russian TV. That's what the United States is accusing the Russians of, doing. They of course deny it. Of course they would. Just like if I, ran NASA back in the 60s, I'd deny that the moon landings happened in a Hollywood basement. I wonder if anyone's getting that song reference. Maybe, maybe not.
Song reference?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not getting it. I'll I'll tell you that.
Brutal. Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh wow, it's been a long time since I've listened to anything by them.
Yeah, me too. I know. I'm like
Hmm.
going back like decades when I like listen to them. Yeah, because I listen to EDM now, so I don't have any. But yeah, I digress. Sorry.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's what's being said. So if that is the case, then maybe the invasion actually won't happen until after the Olympics in China, which start today. Maybe they already had the opening ceremony. I don't know because I don't watch the Olympics, but I know Putin's supposedly supposed to be there at the Olympics. And the reason why we're talking about this, for people who don't know, is because Russia supplies a ton of natural gas to Europe, and they got pipelines that go through both Ukraine and uh, Belarus. And there's concerns that those gas pipelines would get cut off in the event of a war. Not to mention other pipelines. They have a bunch of other pipelines that go around those areas, like Nord Stream 1, Nord Stream 2. They have pipelines that go down through like Greece into Italy and Turkey. And there's concern that it could all get shut off. And so I believe that if there was an invasion, the price in Europe and the price of natural gas in the United States would spike just out of a knee jerk reaction. Like buy first, ask questions later, analyze later
Hmm.
type situation. So that's why I like bringing that up. So that kind of maybe give you an idea of how there could be a window if they are doing that, and the drills are till the 20th, and it's some speculated that they won't attack during the Olympics. Then that kind of gives people more of a, if they want to pay attention to that, like a gauge for when it might happen, because it's kind of generally believed that if he does invade, it'll happen in February due to the ground being frozen in eastern Ukraine. There's a renewable natural gas facility getting made down in Houston. We've talked about like ones being made up in Canada and Iowa. There's more of those coming in. Um, if these things like get a lot of funding, and this is for like looking like way down outside of our current like trading plan, because like we're swing traders, so we look at stuff in the next like couple weeks or a couple months. But a building of renewable natural gas infrastructure would be looking at things to kind of, oh yeah, that's interesting to know for like years from now if that gets a bunch of uh funding and the infrastructure for that gets built up, then supply would increase drastically. And even with the increases in export capacity in the United States, the price uh, atmosphere in the United States would become more bearish than it is now. So that's a ton of capacity. If the majority of all of the like biodegradable materials from like farms, like cattle operations, chicken farms, pig farms, sheep farms, biodegradable waste from like wood plants, paper plants, all starts getting dumped into facilities so that it'll rot and create what they are calling renewable, quote unquote, natural gas. Even more green. The natural gas is even more green than the green natural gas over in Europe. So, like when you like burn it and this carbon dioxide that like goes off it, it is like has like a little magic like asterisk next to it. So when it goes up in the atmosphere, it does not cause global warming.
The
It's
atmosphere
just like
knows. Yeah, the
the
ones with the
atmosphere knows.
asterisks. Yeah, you just don't accumulate those in the atmosphere.
Yep, they don't at
They'll
all.
just
They
magically
swear.
dissipate over time. Okay, so I just want to like kind of get into the a little bit of details there with the renewable natural gas. So you should always do your own research, please. But we've done a little bit, and again, this is broad picture, like down the line, like significantly down the timeline. So like the bull said, like years. But uh, so yeah, like biological waste, basically like you know cow shit and stuff like that, and like whatever. The biological waste that sits there, it releases methane. Same with like landfills and stuff, just releases methane as part of the decomposition process. And so like what they're gonna do is like harness all that methane and uh, I guess pipeline it, and get it to where it need like distribution centers, whether that be like gasification or liquefaction facilities for LNG exports, or like just like the main distribution hubs that go to like power plants, natural gas burning power plants. That's what they're looking at doing. And since there are already so many of those sources of that methane, landfills and like, feedlots, like livestock feedlots. Since those things are already there, they don't have to drill into the ground, nothing like that. Like it's that methane is already there. They just have to capture it, and like the what it takes to get that infrastructure in is a lot less than what it takes to get a liquefaction facility online. And so, like over the years, just saying hypothetically, um, if they go through with all these projects and stuff, supply um, would outpace demand uh, fast, pretty fast. And yeah, the amount like, of resources and time it takes to harness that methane is a lot less than what it takes to build an LNG facility.
Yeah. And if so then we get cheaper prices, so then people's bills would go down, and then people use more. It's like in England, they're getting notices that their bills are their energy bills are gonna go up by over 50% for the next 3 years. Literally, that's not an exaggeration. Um, so then people use less. It's like we said, oh man, I get a bill that says my heating bill is gonna go up 50% starting next month. Well, I'm gonna go turn that thermostat down like right now. I'm gonna discover the convenience of a Snuggie. And and it's like the same kind of thing. Oh my, the bill goes down like 30% or 50%, depending on where someone's living. Then it's like, oh cool, well, I don't need it to be as cold now in my house, so I'm gonna turn the heat up. Or oh, I'm gonna turn my AC, 1 degree during the summer so it's not quite as hot. Maybe the ideal temperature for a person is like 1 or 2 degrees uh lower than where they have it.
Yeah,
Like instead of at like 74, they have it it's set at 72 in their house.
yeah,
That uses up more energy, and so then that things like that increase demand for uh natural gas because the price is down. It's the opposite of demand destruction. It's demand creation because people
yeah,
are like, oh well, yeah, I want to be more comfortable, and I can now afford to be more comfortable in my house, and that's like like fundamental, like just basic aspect of existing. Something like, oh, I'm going to be more comfortable now in my climate controlled environment, and I can now afford to do so.
and yesterday we talked about how in America we're like consumers, like your average consumer, they're way more insulated from these price spikes than like that we're insulated over in like Europe and the UK. They're not. They're a
Yeah,
lot more exposed to like spot market pricing. So
because yeah, hmm
yeah, so their bills are increasing, and that's what when you said that. I mean, you're talking like at the consumer level, like the person, like the average
hmm
person living their life day to day, not companies or corporations or utilities. It's just like that. Talk about inflation. That's that's part of it.
hmm Wah, wah, wah.
I mean, for little little bit different reasons, but it all fits into the same idea.
Oh yeah. Yep.
It looks like 480 is holding, or it has been holding, and looks like we might have a little push here to the upside. Not that one little 1 minute candle. I mean, like it'll be maybe a little bit more. Maybe go to VWAP 486. But I don't know. That's why I don't day trade. I don't know what it's gonna do in the moment. Like on a day to day basis. That's the beauty of swing trading, is that I do know what it's gonna do over the next month.
Yep. Exactly. Yep. It's like we were saying yesterday and the day before, and many other times when yeah, like the price is above $5, and you just like look over at like April, and you're like, oh wow, April's at like $5. Well, you know what? I don't know what the price is gonna do like tomorrow, but I'll tell you what, prices for April contracts like at the end of March, I like literally can like tell you that there's 99% certainty that they will not be that high come like 7 weeks from now. It'd literally be like a freak of nature anomaly that would prevent prices from going down into the shoulder months.
Feel good?
Ooh. Oh, I feel great. Yes,
Good.
this has been awesome.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, I hope you all have a great day.